165 and 8, 39.8%. So you have a 30-year system that's hit 60%. If those teams are a home favorite of 7 or more, that's only happened 16 times. They're 3-13 against the spread, which is 18.8%. That play this week is the Fade Seattle. They're playing the Arizona Cardinals. Dave, Wisconsin, another touchdown. Now 14-0. 4 minutes gone in the first quarter.
I mean, Miami doesn't want to be here.
Nope. It's cold. It's chilly.
Yeah, it's not that. It's actually not that cold. It's a very pleasant early evening in New York City. But Miami looks really bad. Yeah, if you've got Miami, you're in trouble in this game. 14-0 already. Miami's already in trouble on this next possession. Well, they actually made some yards.
And there's times you're down 14, you think, oh, I can get advantage betting live. Body language here dictates that I wouldn't be on Miami at all.
Nope. Actually, I'd be more inclined to lay the points now with Wisconsin, even though they're already up 14. All right, anyway, college basketball, it really begins in earnest tomorrow and this weekend as conference play getting underway. And I'm not saying you throw out everything that's taken place in November and December to this point, but a lot of it is stuff that you have to disregard to some extent because, this is where you have to know the programs a little bit. A lot of coaches who have used November and December as almost an exhibition season in terms of going with different rotations, experimenting to find the best combinations. Now is when the rotation gets shorter. They get down to 7 or 8 guys, and the games are all meaningful.
Yeah, there's no question. And, the difference is when you're looking at those mid-major conferences, you really cannot even compare stats. No. I mean, one example here in the MAC, Eastern Michigan and Central Michigan are rivals that play each other, and they're both similar in talent. Eastern Michigan comes in 6-6, Central Michigan 10-2. Eastern Michigan's played the number 36 schedule this year.
Yes, they've had some tough
games. And they have
games.
Kansas on deck.
Yep.
Central Michigan's played the 347 out of 353 teams. So, you're looking at those stats, and one team looks so productive and the other doesn't. Now you also have body of work where underdogs come to fruition because teams are familiar with each other. You talked about the shorter rotations, only using those 7 or 8 mans. You're talking about playing guys on defense that have played next to each other. I went and looked at, when you look at conference home favorites, conference home dogs, everything in conference play over the last 4 years, the highest percentage, if you just blindly play a conference away favorite of 10 or more, that's 48%. Everything else is between 49 and 51% as far as conferences go. So there are no more, I want to play conference home dogs or I want to play conference double-digit home dogs. Each situation's different. You're going to find value in those spots, but you can't plainly say this is the kind of situation I'm looking for.
One of the things I like to look for, and this is where I will use the preseason stuff, is I'm looking for teams that played, and you just mentioned one of them, and I don't know that I'll play the game, but the Eastern Michigan, Central Michigan's a good example because Eastern Michigan doesn't have a very good record, but they faced a really tough schedule.
Yeah, 6-6 record against a 36 schedules.
Right. They're way more battle-tested than Central Michigan. To me, that's an advantage going into conference play, and I'll at least be looking at the Eastern Michigan side in that game. So that's the type of thing I like to look for to garner from the preseason is who went out there and it doesn't always work because, listen, we've had seasons where, Long Beach State played.
I was going to bring Long Beach State plays a top 10 schedule every year.
And then, but, they've played so many tough games that they get into their own level and they're just beat up and mentally beat because if you schedule all really good teams, all you do is learn how to lose.
Yeah,
you don't learn how to win. You got to get some wins.
Top 20 teams.
Yeah, right.
Yes. Yeah.
I think Long Beach is overscheduled over the years, and I think it's hurt their program.
Yeah, you have to teach kids how to be competitive. You have to teach kids how to make baskets and win games.
Yep.
If you're never in a situation to win a game, when you're finally put in that situation against a conference opponent, especially on the road, your kids aren't going to live up to that billing.
Now, are you going to be putting up any stuff at Wager Talk as far as college, not picks, but in terms of the stuff that people can download on a daily basis in college basketball?
I'm going to do a weekly. I'm going to do a weekly update with my power rating updates with the ATS and over-under numbers. So we did this a couple years ago. It's a conference-by-conference sheet. So at one glance, you can pull out your conference, look at what their records are, look at what their stats are, look at their upcoming schedule, and see who they've played. It was very popular a couple years ago. We didn't do it last year, but by popular demand, we'll be bringing it back, no question.
If you missed the early bowl result today, it turned out to be a blowout. It was all Temple early. Well, not all Temple, but they were up 27-14. But after that, it was all Duke, and Duke won that game by a wide margin. Wisconsin in Miami, it ain't looking good if you've got a Miami ticket in this game. It's 14-0 Wisconsin.
Not looking good if you have a Miami ticket.
I said it ain't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
And the Badgers are back in Miami territory again. We're only halfway through the first quarter, and it's 14-0, and Wisconsin is driving again on what, at least to this juncture, looks like a really disinterested Miami team. That's the only way I can phrase it.
Yeah, well, we talked about it earlier. If you have a team that can run the ball between the tackles, There's no timing between the quarterback and the wide receivers. There's nothing you have to work out. We've seen Miami not know who the quarterback was, and his first throw of the day was a pick that almost went back for a pick six. So, again, motivation or wanting to be there is the most powerful tool when you're handicapping a bowl game.
I'll do one play-by-play here. And it looks like another big, decent run for Wisconsin. They're going to have a third down and short inside the Miami 30-yard line with 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. And we'll tell you what happens. We'll keep you in suspense until we come back. We will look at the Golden Knights. They're back in action tonight at home against the Avalanche. It's our Wager Talk marquee matchup next.
The Las Vegas Sports Line.
What's hot today? It's time for the Wager Talk marquee matchup of the night. WagerTalk.com. Start winning now.
All right, here we go with NHL action. They're back from the Christmas break. Now, this was different this year because it was mandated that all 31 teams get at least 3 days off in no practice or travel as a team. Obviously, if players wanted to go on vacation, they could do that. But no practice, no travel. So, consequently, you have a different set of parameters to deal with. And in addition to that, I'm seeing, up and down, and scanning the morning reports coming out of morning skates, there's a lot of guys out tonight. That includes a couple of Golden Knights. Pacioretty's been hurt, but Miller's still missing from the blue line. So that's a significant absence. It looks like Grubauer is going to be in goal for Colorado tonight. And, of course, it's Fleury for the Golden Knights, as it is basically every night. Golden Knights back in action at home, looking to get themselves back on track after a very disappointing weekend where they lost back-to-back overtime games to two teams they're probably supposed to get 2 points against. In the Kings and the Canadiens, they only got 2 points total out of a possible 4. So the break could not come at a better time for the Golden Knights, but you can say the same thing about the Avalanche, Ralph. They have slumped going into the All-Star break, and they needed the time off as well.
Yeah, well, they lost back-to-back games as a favorite, and they've been a favorite each of their last 7 games. They've gone 2-5 in that stretch, so they've lost 5 games as a favorite. Now they're actually coming in as an underdog. I don't know if they could play looser as an underdog or, now they're just playing a better opponent than they faced in the past. So,
tough to say. I did not play any NHL tonight.
Again, it's such a unique situation.
It's
the first time it's happened, and I give you credit for the wait-and-see attitude instead of trying to guess what's going to happen in a situation.
Now, we do have, if you want to take a look at records of teams off 3 days rest, 3 or more days rest, you did compile some numbers on those. We'll put a little asterisk next to them because it's not the same set of circumstances, but for what it's worth.
Yeah, again, if you follow me at Twitter, at CalSportsLV, or just follow me now and go take a look, I did go ahead and put up each team since 2016, what they've done with 3 days rest. And Pittsburgh was the number 1 team, plus 11 units, and the Blackhawks were the last team, minus 13 units in that situation. So, again, it's up there for your information, but as Dave pointed out, during those other 3-day rests, they probably had multiple days of practice, guys getting worked on in the training room, situations happening, which isn't the case this time.
Well, maybe things are going to change a little bit in the Miami-Wisconsin game. The Hurricanes did manage to hold the Badgers on their last possession, took over the ball deep in their own territory, and that's Rozier, the quarterback, who just broke a big, big run. And Miami now has the ball, going to be first down at the Wisconsin 20. They trail 14-0, about 3 minutes to go in the first quarter. But a score here from Miami, that changes the game, Ralph. That could get them very interested all of a sudden. It doesn't take much to flip that momentum switch, and it often only takes one play, and we might have just seen that play in the Miami game. So who knows? Maybe this will turn out to be something entertaining. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not on the game anyway.
Yeah, Dave, you and I talked the play before that when they were holding Wisconsin. You saw some players running to the ball, and you didn't see Miami quit. And that's what you have to see on defense. And, hey, one stop can turn the game around. So we'll see what happens. I still think the Wisconsin side's the right side.
Let's talk about what's happening at Wager Talk right now, because as we head to the close of 2018 and the open of 2019, there's a lot of information and opportunity for sports bettors to earn some profits, either with the free information provided at Wager Talk on a daily basis or by purchasing selections from the handicappers they like.
Yeah, NBA fans, the NBA stat sheet's up there. I give a free best bet. Those free best bets are 4-1 this week.
Nice.
Another one today. That's a free download, or if you follow me on Twitter. And like I said, we'll start next week with the college basketball conference guide, and each week that'll be up. I'll either do it Monday or Tuesday. Once I get in the routine, it'll be up the same day with the same time period.
And look, you can check through each handicapper to see how they're doing. Carmine Bianco has been, look, I'm having a really good NHL season, but Carmine, this is nuts. I think he's 17-1 in his last 19 plays. So, that might be a guy you want to consider following at this point. Teddy Covers has been knocking him down on a solid basis. Marco, as usual, finding the right situational spots to take advantage of. I got no complaints overall. I think, I guess my numbers are about as good as anybody's for 2018, all sports combined. And, Ralph, you are as steady as a rock and just earning profits on a steady basis. So, we're not trying to put one guy above the other. Find out who you're comfortable with, and if you want to make the investment and tail along, might not be a bad idea to do so.
Yeah, and I mentioned this, and I don't know how valuable this is as a tool, but Dave, I do write-ups on games, you do write-ups on games, most guys
Mine
do.
have a lot of typos.
Well, so do mine, and people say, well, my idea is just to get the information out, and if you go to anyone's capper's page and look at their last 20 plays, you can click on the plays and read the write-ups and say, hey, I like the way this guy handicapped this game. I really appreciate it.
Because
or you're going to learn things from that. Yeah.
Some handicappers are trend-oriented. Yeah. Some are situation-oriented. Some are matchup. I'm a matchup guy myself, where I do projections and then work off those based on matchups. So it varies from one person to the next.
But I read your hockey plays. I'm not a hockey guy. I don't handicap hockey, but I learned things about hockey teams reading your write-ups about who's in goal, who's not playing, the matchups they had. So even if you're not buying our plays, learn from what's available for free at Wager Talk.
1 minute, 15 seconds to go first quarter. Miami is on the board, but not with what they wanted, as Wisconsin held on defense, and all Miami could get was 3. So it is a 14-3 Badgers lead, 1:15 to go in the first quarter. Kickoff pending in that game.
In a lightly filled Yankee Stadium.
You know what? Compared to some of the other ones, it's not bad. Yeah. Did you see that? I mean, obviously the weather clearly had an impact, as I'm sure a lot of people with tickets never bothered to show up. No, the Boston College Boise game before it got postponed. Oh. There was nobody there. Canceled, not postponed. I mean, there was nobody there. I mean, it was pathetic. But then with the weather, I'm sure that people who had tickets to the game decided, "How the hell with this?"
Hey, the people that didn't go are happier; they're getting their money back. Right?
They made out. Yeah, they made out really well. That was. I got to say really quickly, by the way, a lot of criticism of the Bull. It's like, oh, how did you not see? Well, look, because it's never happened before. Okay, now teams, Bulls will be better prepared for this eventuality and will have contingency plans in place. Because that's what I kept on reading is, why wasn't there a contingency plan in place? Because nobody ever envisioned this happening. It is never.
Not expecting thunderstorms in December, right?